back again. But now it's forbidden relationships. Why would we forbid? And there's so many reasons.
I didn't know how many reasons there could be until
So many.
Started thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe as we move right into talking about forbidden love. And of course, what is the classic example of forbidden love? The one that has come down to us through the ages?
Romeo and Juliette?
Yes, Romeo and Juliette. Forbidden because of a family feud. So like with so many forbidden loves, it is an outside force, family differences that keep them apart. I think in this day and age, it would also be age. Because aren't they like 15 and 14? Well, I'd certainly, if I was the parent of either one of them, would just be, well, I mean, not that they couldn't have love, but they seem to be rather intense about it.
They're a little overboard. They can take a step back and regroup.
Yes. And it's fun, actually, if you listen to, well, my daughter had to read Romeo and Juliet. And did she ever think that was the most sugary, saccharine piece of nonsense? It's like, she's like, really? You would kill yourself because he's dead? Really?
That's why we should mature a little before we make big decisions in our life. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. But I didn't realize just how many scenarios there are that could define forbidden love. Like the whole incest angle.
Well, where did that come from? That was not on my list. I have a list of several.
Oh, and there it was, right? You know, the brother-sister thing.
Yeah, but like, where did you even think of that?
Because I'm pretty sure there was a few books about the brother-sister thing.
Yeah, that's definitely forbidden. Unless you're like Egyptian royalty. No.
Yeah, that's right. You can't get away from any of that. There was a book by Donna Morrissey, a Canadian author, but that was the whole big thing, is there's a childhood friendship, and then all of a sudden the families were trying to keep them apart, and they couldn't understand because weren't they the perfect pair? It came out towards the end of the, yes, and here it is, a spoiler, although there's lots more going on in that novel, is that they were half brother, half sister. They were probably too close to be having an everlasting relationship. Incest was on my list. What's on your list?
My list is religion, race, their job, their vocation, financial status, close along with that, their upbringing. Well, they weren't raised right. And maybe they just don't like the cut of the other's jib. You know, there can be any kind of reason. It doesn't matter. Yes. It doesn't have to be based in anything concrete.
It is hard, that one. I'm going to focus in on one of those, religion. That can just tear along great family lines. And it can be, like, you can't just say, okay, one are Christian and the other one is Muslim. Okay. And Jewish or Muslim, and that cuts along those fairly well-defined lines. Okay, that's its own mess. But then you can even move that into the world of just Christians.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're Catholic Protestants. Don't we have the whole Irish question and the forbidden romances that came out of there? Ooh, this reminds me of a song by Ed Sheeran about this forbidden love between his grandfather and his grandmother in real life. It's got an Irish shanty feel to the song itself. Again, a case of forbidden love. One was a Catholic and one was a Protestant. One was an English man and the other one was an Irish gal. But how they overcame the obstacles. It's a wonderful song. I'd love to play it here, but sorry.
Yeah, can't do it.
Copyright.
You'll have to look it up yourself when we put it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there's even the stories of the Protestant man dropping his Catholic wife off to worship on Sunday morning and going to his own thing, and then they couldn't be buried in the same graveyard, and deeply rooted forbidden. I mean, if you went through with it, it was hugely difficult.
Yes, you were, well, and I won't say even put it in the past tense, but a huge ostracization, ostracism, ostracized from family, community, the church group, and the pressures that would put on a marriage that might start off very well meaning. You know, in a way, forbidden love would get more interesting in the after marriage. So trying to be a couple when there's these incredible pressures. I think that's a trope that could be fairly explored in as a marriage romance. We need not have our happily ever after ending.
Well, you write it. I do need my happily ever after ending.
Yes. Well, it could happen in marriage too. I understand.
But it's hard enough, right? Like, marriage is hard enough. And then, yeah, it might have been a thrill and you got married. You made it through that point in your forbidden relationship, but you're in for the long haul and those things don't go away.
It's forbidden all the time.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, well, fine, we'll let it go.
Yeah, it's interesting that way because, okay, enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, we see an arc and we see it ending. But when you would have to persuade the whole society to think like you, it is not going to happen. You can have it in the happily ever after where they defy all the odds, and perhaps if it was just two feuding families, you could bring some closure. But in the forbidden loves where there's high stakes, it's not going to be resolved in a happily ever after. Though there are a few other fun ones that I came across was falling in love with your mark. So that person that you were supposed to take down, either quite literally as an assassin.
No, it could happen.
It could happen. Well, my historical romance, you know, it's a female assassin and she doesn't fall for her mark, but she does fall for the person who is to protect the mark being the emperor himself. So, you know, what do? You still want to do your job, right? But when the other person's job is to prevent you from doing yours, well, okay, things become a little bit forbidden. The other interesting one is, okay, Stockholm syndrome.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one, right? Which leads to interspecies forbidden love.
Oh, yes. Oh, I can't believe we went there, but yes. Yes. Sorry, yes. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, well, okay, that was actually a human prince, I guess, in there.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. He was a beast.
Yes. But what hand you actually were of a different species. So one of my favorite romances is The Last Hour of Gone, Gann, by R. Lee Smith. And the romantic couple in there is a female human, and she makes the point, so I will make the point, is that she had a bit of a potty mouth and she was 20 pounds overweight. She did not feel good about herself and she was doughy and white and doughy. And she ends up on, as it happens, on a different planet, which is dominated by beautiful reptilian men. Well, there's women too, right? And I'm not a big fan of reptiles, although both my kids are. But the way she wrote it is he was the superior race to these soft, doughy humans, right? Yeah, you began to feel sort of repugnant about yourself compared to these sleek, iridescent reptilian men with their, you know, their nice hard shells. I know. Who would think? But she pulled it off. But of course, it was forbidden really for him as a reptile man to fall in love with someone so lowly as a human. Yes, I would definitely recommend the book.
All right.
It's kind of sexy.
Well, lizard sexy.
Yeah, let me just say.
But we want to hear how people like that one, because I really want to know. I don't know if I could read that, but
I know.
it's
Like
interesting.
initially, I was like, yeah, but I don't like reptiles. For one thing, it's kind of an enemies to lovers too. So you're not forced to accept their relationship right from the beginning. You're not expected to see any chemistry or attraction between them. So so then, you know, there's a gradual warming up to each other, and because they are warming up to each other, you're kind of as the reader, you're kind of taken along on that little sensual journey of theirs. So forbidden love, there for a time, but depending on what's forbidden, it could be with you for the rest of the relationship. So
So you better be
beware.
sure.
Yes, perhaps it's forbidden for a reason.
Better be sure, better be strong.
Yes, know what you want. All right, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back again. Bye for now.